With Halloween Kills set to be released on October 16th, 2020, many fans of the Halloween franchise are absolutely excited and curious to see as to what exactly Michael Myers is going to be doing in the upcoming film, when of course looking back on his inevitable escape from the Strode house in which he was originally trapped in from the end of Halloween 2018, to in which we do have brand new screenshots for the upcoming Halloween Kills movie, to where, as you guys can see on screen from the first image having to be shown, it would appear that we are going to be going back on the streets of Haddonfield and further having to take a look as to what exactly went down following Michael's carnage within Haddonfield itself. And I really do hope that we get to see a more explored Haddonfield and getting more people aware that we have another set of murders occur, and the culprit at this point happens to be the same individual that happened to have done the exact same thing back during 1978's events, which happened to be Michael Myers. And we do know that at some point Michael Myers will be escaping the house that he was trapped in, but as you guys can see based on the next image having to be shown, Haddonfield Memorial Hospital is going to be one of the prime locations of this upcoming movie, and the reason for this is due to the idea that, as you guys can see in the third image having to be shown, Laurie Strode appears, based on visuals alone, to be near or at least centered around Haddonfield Memorial Hospital, which only means that perhaps maybe she had gone here to treat her injuries, maybe due to Karen having to take her there, or Alison, or perhaps maybe the stranger that they were riding in by the end of Halloween 2018. Nonetheless, Laurie Strode and her family will be within the Haddonfield Memorial Hospital, which is a direct callback to Halloween 2, and no, this movie isn't solely going to take place within the hospital itself, but we can only assume right now that we are going to have a major portion in the film revolve itself within the hospital, as assumingly enough, Michael may in fact either find out or get wind of Laurie Strode and her family headed to the hospital to treat their injuries, of course, because we know that Laurie is really hurt based on the end of Halloween 2018 alone. So this in and of itself raises a lot of questions as to, number one, if Michael does somehow find out that Laurie is in the hospital, how does he do so to begin with? Does he somehow overhear this on a radio? Does he end up killing somebody and prior they may have talked about it? So it's really interesting to know the fact that Laurie is going to the hospital, and based on the visuals and the overall setting alone, it would either appear that A, Michael's going to be going and paying her a visit at the hospital, or B, perhaps maybe Laurie and her family find out that Michael is in fact alive and end up leaving the hospital to track him down in Haddonfield, and thus we don't have anything happen in the hospital other than Laurie Strode being treated for her injuries prior to her leaving. So right now, the setting is quite unknown, but the hospital is there. And with that, the possibility of Halloween Kills toppling Halloween 2018 when it comes down to its narrative, script, execution, and storytelling is quite relevant in the fact that Halloween Kills could potentially surpass Halloween 2018 in almost every aspect if done right. One of the many questions asked by the community is what exactly is going to be the direction going forward with Michael's character leading into Halloween Ends on October 15th, 2021, which another one of the major concepts that fans want to see in Halloween Kills is the original Myers house, in the fact that there are two possibilities of what happened to the Myers house going into Halloween Kills. Either concept A, the house is still there and it would be a great concept to see Michael Myers finally go back home to the original place where he killed Judith Myers, or B, the second concept could be the fact that the Myers house was originally demolished, or something happened to where the house is no longer there, or it's changed, different, altered. Something needs to go down involving Michael Myers and perhaps maybe his home, in the fact that perhaps once Michael ends up escaping the house that Strode put him in, he's venturing off on the streets of Haddonfield until he does in fact come across his older home, or a different concept be brought about to where the Myers home is no longer there. But the biggest question is, what is going to be the fate of Laurie Strode and Michael going into Halloween Ends? Now, I don't think Michael Myers is going to be killed off at all in Halloween Kills, as a lot of people are trying to insert the narrative that perhaps Michael and Laurie are going to be killed off in Halloween Kills going into Halloween Ends, and that really wouldn't be pragmatic, especially with the concept of not including Michael Myers for the finale of this trilogy, because I think that by the end of Halloween Kills, Michael Myers will in fact end up killing Laurie Strode, but I don't think it will be without a necessary sacrifice placed by Laurie to protect her family. Now, a lot of people aren't really too fond of Karen, which is quite understandable when looking at the overall narrative, but something's gotta give. Somebody important has to go in Halloween Kills, and given on the last video we discussed how many characters are going to be introduced in this film, you can't keep all of these characters like Lindsay and Karen and Alison and Laurie and all of these additional characters going into Halloween Ends, because there needs to be a circumstance come about to where there's desperation and there's a narrative inserted to where Michael at this point just seems to have the upper hand on our heroes in forcing them to come up with a plan to finally put Myers down. Because if you really stop and think about it, Halloween Kills cannot possibly have a happy ending at the very conclusion of the movie, in the fact that for once Michael Myers needs to stand tall against the Strodes in actually picking off and killing the majority of the characters in the film, that really gives off that sense of dread in the fact that Myers now is pissed and Myers is out for revenge, not only for Laurie, but Karen and Alison as well. And anybody that gets in Myers' path, Myers will in fact put you down. So for Tommy, for Lindsay, anybody else who gets in the way of Myers, I can see Myers putting them down. So by the end, I could really see a concept having to sprout to where Michael is actually ahead and standing tall among everyone in not only killing off the majority of the characters, but all three of the women, Alison, Karen, and Laurie, cannot possibly make it into Halloween Ends as a singular unit, in the fact that one or two of said individuals needs to die in this movie. And that realistically could end up being Laurie and Karen. Alison, I think, is going to be the person that's going to pick up the torch, I think, down the line and carry the Halloween franchise if in fact they end up continuing this. But by the end, we know for an absolute fact that Alison is going to survive given her status and given the fact that she could be someone potentially used to carry the brand. So with that being said, nobody cares about Karen, and Laurie Strode and Michael have such a history that I can actually end up seeing Michael not only pick apart Laurie and then Karen after, but also even in reverse if they end up having Michael pick apart Karen first and then Laurie, and thus leaving Alison for the very end. Which, if you stop and think about it, there needs to be a payoff by the end of Halloween Kills, and if you have Laurie and Karen and Alison once again have the upper hand on Michael, then it really devalues the character of Michael Myers, because in Halloween 2018, we've seen more of a passive-aggressive Michael than what we're normally used to, of course, as seen in Halloween 2, Halloween 4, Halloween 5, and 6, but of course those movies are non-canon. So this movie, Halloween Kills, needs to introduce an ultra-violent Michael Myers to where anyone that comes across him is inevitably met with death, and I think that by running with this narrative and having Michael do everything that he needs to do in his own ability to find and track down Laurie and Karen and Alison would be very pragmatic for the film. But if we once again go with this narrative of seeing Michael be more or less passive just because he's old, or just because there's a loose end at the end of the movie with Laurie having to survive or Karen having to survive, then it really devalues Michael as a character, because if by the end all three end up surviving, then what's the purpose of Michael going around and doing what he's doing, especially if the payoff is potentially Michael dying by the end of Halloween Ends. So I want to get your thoughts in the comment section below about the running narrative of Halloween Kills. If you guys believe that Michael should kill Laurie, if you guys think Laurie should perhaps survive and Karen dies, or if you guys believe that Michael should not be as aggressive in this movie versus Halloween Ends. I want to get your thoughts and feedback and mainly predictions in the comment section below. As of course, if you guys are Halloween fans, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more awesome Halloween content. For me, I'm very excited because this movie promises to be a very impactful and very in-your-face type of movie based on the teasers and the spoilers and the leaks, and that's a good thing, especially with what happened in Halloween 2018. We've seen an aggressive Michael, but he wasn't as aggressive as he normally is shown to be, which is what makes him a little bit passive. So here, I really do hope that they run with this narrative objective of making Michael more aggressive, more angry. He doesn't have to have like this Jason Voorhees type vibe, but he has to seek out revenge in finding these individuals, because if not, then what's the point of keeping Michael Myers around to begin with? So again, I want to get your thoughts and feedback down in the comment section below. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you all so much for your time. Tune back in for the next video. If you guys have not checked out the previous Halloween movies, then be sure to go on ahead and check those out, and I'll be seeing each and every single one of you guys down in the comment section below. Take it easy, guys. Peace.